the committee of the whole meeting to order. It is 7:12. We have one agenda item. Yes. One agenda item to discuss, and it's standing committees from the whole structure. Policy number 8, and my suggestion is there's going to be, I have a lot of comments, and I know this is probably, we're getting sick of having 15-minute intervals of talking about this policy. So I'm wondering if, after today, if there are still outstanding sections, if maybe I would call a special meeting or a committee meeting, assign it to a committee, have a special meeting, and then anyone who wants to attend, as long as they're informed, can come, just to finish it. Otherwise, we can keep scheduling it at committee as a whole. I just don't know when. Sometimes a suburb is easier to get it done.
Yeah, it's like a special meeting because we're never going to get through it this rate.
And maybe it's held by JP now, because right now we're working with the clerk on the volunteer committee policy. I don't know if it makes sense because they're both board related, but or I can just call.
We could have assign enough time to actually work on the thing.
Right, and
people could submit comments in advance and we kind of could think about them, because I don't know what if they're substantive or.
You're actually, you guys were almost done.
okay.
At least for my notes. Maybe there's more that came up in between that time. But you were down to the categories under each committee.
Rebecca, can I point something out before I forget it?
Sure.
On that second paragraph, you have the second Tuesday preceding the spring election. Other committee assignments, I think you mean following. Unless, unless the village president is clairvoyant in some way.
Yep.
I just don't want that to get lost.
Sure.
So if we want to do as much as we can in the next 15 minutes, and then Rebecca and I will work to see if we can schedule a longer, maybe time period if it's not done here, and if not, maybe an outside meeting.
I mean, the only main thing, I did want to talk about assignment to different committees, but the main thing I wanted to talk about was where we talk about bringing something up at a village board meeting and having a vote to add it to the agenda. Because I think it's listed now as a majority, and
Do you want to go in order?
no, I just want to get, because this is the last thing I want to talk about on it, was that I just feel like there may be issues of interest to one, or I just feel like, having been in a minority on this board, that it's in some ways still a minority on this board, that there should be a way, if there's something you want to discuss, maybe not. I guess what I'm proposing is to just have one other trustee say, yeah, because we're not saying, it's not even giving an opportunity to make a case and have debate, if you can't bring it, if you need a majority to even bring it. So, but I mean, I agree, if you're the only person who cares about it, maybe you can make a speech and be done with it, but I think I'm proposing instead of a simple majority, like a two-person vote.
I'd support that.
Yeah, it's kind of like seconding
Sure,
motion,
yes, you
so
got
now
enough
you
to
can get
really
discussion.
start
Right,
discussion.
right. But I have a question about that, because I thought about that today, and I was like, yeah, because I know I wanted a minutes, just give an example, talk on minutes, and we can never get it to board. But Robert's rules defines it as, what we found out is you can make a motion, and we have a second, and then you vote to put it on the agenda. That's Robert's rules, so we can make it less stringent, but that is what legislative practice does. So you can talk during your motion and your second, but if the full board or the majority of the board doesn't want to take it up and spend staff time on it, that's a different thing. So I'm very receptive to and understand not getting something on the agenda. And the way that the attorney, during that memo, when we had this issue and we went to the board, it was like, well, here's how you would get it on the agenda. And Robert's rule says you would make a motion, have a second, and then the board would discuss and vote. So I just don't know, I understand what you're saying, I just wouldn't want staff to spend a lot of time on tons, depending on how active the board is.
I'm not talking about staff, just that we would be able to, bring it up and talk about it.
Well, could the way that we're doing future items for consideration, does that kind of get to where you would want to be, like how you would imagine it happening?
Because you could still talk about it during that future agenda.
Exactly.
It's just that you wouldn't then move it forward to the research.
We would, at that time, so it'd be listed under future item for consideration. So it's listed so we can discuss it at that level, where you could just say, hey, are you guys interested in, this is why I think it's important. And then if the board felt like, you know, I need to hear more about that, and I would like to hear more about that, you know, then it would move on. Or if you got a majority of people that were like, yeah, let's definitely make that a priority.
I mean, I guess on the one hand, it's like, we shouldn't waste everybody's time if there's not an interest in something. But on the other hand, I mean, as individual trustees, I mean, we have, you know, individual things we'd like to see get accomplished, and so,
What do other levels of government do, like when you have a bill that you want to introduce? I'm serious, I don't know. You introduce the bill at committee and the bill dies. I don't know what that means. Does it mean that you talked about it in the introduction phase, like at Common Council we used to have like an introductory file? It didn't go into all the details, but it would either die or be on the agenda. Does that happen at all levels?
I mean, the level I know is that, you know, you go into committee and if it does, it needs to report out of committee with a majority, but, or else the bill is considered dead for that session. At least in my experience with insurance bills.
we're just saying, are things that, are you unable to bring something up for a discussion if you don't have a majority? I mean, maybe you have three who want to talk about it, or two besides yourself, and you could convince the fourth, you know, but they just hearing it, like, you're just bringing up, well, I want to talk about, you know, bocce courts, for example, okay?
You could provide all the information you want under future agenda.
Yeah,
You could provide
that's the way to do it.
You would say, like, say you really had fiscal impact, so you say, Rebecca, I want to put this under future agenda.
She's not gonna do all that work for a future agenda item, you know, I don't think she's gonna have
No,
someone
but to
come
make
up
your
with
case to the board.
a cost estimate and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, I don't know, I just feel like, I feel like it's a little bit suppression of the minority to not allow trustees to, and we are individuals and we have different perspectives and different issues that are important to us. And I mean, I would say in most cases, a board would grant each other the privilege, I guess, of saying, I'll listen to your issues and you'll listen to mine, but you know, you never can.
Right. I just have to say that,
Yeah.
I've been I'm so for the minority vote. I just have never, we are a board, and we only officially can make policy as a board. And if you don't have 4 votes to even explore the issue, at some point, you're just wasting time. And we have a lot on our agenda. So I don't have a problem. We used to not know that we could bring it up in future agenda items and have that discussion.
Yeah, we haven't had that before.
This is
or
like
utilize that, so I think this is a lot more robust way to use that item.
I think we can have longer discussions during future agenda items about it, but we are a board and we act together. And at some point, you can't get, so in other places like Market, you don't trade votes, but you do have that respect. You say, oh, okay, you know what I'm saying? And so I feel,
we've done really
but
well
I don't know that.
I don't trust that that would happen. I mean, I don't know. We're missing 2 board members too, so I'd like to maybe talk about this when Jessica and Tammy are here and see what their feelings are.
So where exactly in this?
We don't, I get really sensitive when we talk about, because there's not a board member here, we have to rehash it.
And we have, I don't know what the action would be tonight, but I would say that under future items for consideration, a board member could bring an item forward, say it's bocce courts, and you could prepare a memo to the board that lists everything that's important to you about bocce courts, including what you know, and then say that, you know, if there were interest on the board, these would be the next steps. And if I received that, not knowing anything about bocce courts, and I couldn't think of a reason that we shouldn't go forward, then I'd probably go along with it because I saw it all out there. That's usually, in my experience, why I can't get on board with something, because I just can't, like, wrap my head around it. So if that were the procedure, which that item does allow us to do, then I think that it meets your needs without compromising Robert's, or deviating from Robert's rules, which I agree is like, if to be consistent is, I think, a good thing.
And I also think that, in the past, the frustration was just say minutes, we wanted to talk about meeting minutes, right? We'd say to the president, we'd like to talk about meeting minutes, and it would never get on, it just
Yeah,
never got
so-
scheduled, but the board never got to vote.
Yeah.
And when we did vote,
Yeah.
we voted to go ahead and have a talk about meeting minutes, wasn't, so, I don't know, I just think the frustration was more of, we never could even get it to our
Yeah.
peers.
Right. And that, I think we've found a way to do that more consistently. And it doesn't mean and putting it in policy around, because I think the future item for consideration,
It's in here somewhere.
it's in here somewhere. So that means that it would move forward no matter who was in place. And that was what we were missing before. It was just so that you could anticipate how things would happen. So I think this is a lot more transparent.
That was my main issue, and then the allocation to committee.
So I just wanted to start at the beginning, if we can, as the chair of committee. Does anyone have anything? I'll just roll village manager on standing committees, meeting times. So if nobody has anything on the roll, meeting times, my only thing was, I think when we discussed concurrent standing committees, we had said the standing committee meetings will meet concurrently only if necessary. And then we sometimes meet in the boardroom. And so I just want to be clear, it specifies committee room at village manager's office. I don't, do we need those two? I mean, do we need to specify the rooms?
No.
No,
Because
I
it may
think we
change
just
over
ended up
time.
with these rooms because of videotaping.
Well, we have the boardroom too, though. 'Cause
Yeah,
sometimes
right, so it would be
goes
that
there.
room and this room.
Oh, so you're saying replace village manager's
Yeah,
office?
where they can't, good, that was a great catch.
Okay, that would be fine if that's what the board wants to do, or take it out. Either way is fine with
I
me.
would
Or
could
we could
change.
We can change it out
I
too.
mean, it could be
It could be anywhere.
anywhere.
I think when
As
we
long
get
as
to
you're video-
videotaping, we'll specify.
And then that policy would
That's
it
runs.
dictate where you
I think
be.
we would like then, we want to reference these policies, like trustee Warren said in the last committee, he's like, can you reference other street tree, like, it's good to make them.
So we're
Doesn't-
taking out the language on community, on the rooms? Is that what I mean?
Yeah.
And if it has to do with video, you could add only if necessary in rooms that have video, I mean, you could put something that's more general. But anyways, I'm good with taking it out for now. The next thing was, if more time is needed to discuss items, the standing committee can call a special meeting, which I'm perfectly fine with. Is it 2 members of the standing committee? I know it's very specific when we call a village board meeting, special meeting. Does anyone have any preference? Is it the chair? Is it, I just want to be consistent.
Through the chair call it?
Yeah, with the chair.
think it's the
standing
chair.
committee, Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna just add that. Okay, and then staff liaisons for standing committees, we have a policy, it's policy 25. And I'm trying with JPL chair right now to try to take all volunteer committee stuff and put it in one, and I'm just wanting to know, does this replace policy 25, which is called staff liaisons to committees? And if so, we probably should look at that.
And what are you doing with the JP&L chair?
We're just looking at, right now, we're going through our volunteer committee cycle for appointments and for statutory committees, and there's a bunch of policies, so we're working with the clerk to see what, like an outline we can bring to JP&L so that we can go over potential, we're working with staff.
Well, you're working with staff on this?
Yes. So the question is, do we want to reference this? Do we delete this? Should we just take a look at that?
Are you under
Staff.
staff liaisons? Oh, okay.
And then my second question is, depending on if this is gonna replace this, we also have one of these policies in this binder, trustee liaisons. And I don't know if that falls here. I don't think so, because it's not a standing committee, correct?
Correct,
Okay,
yeah.
then we'll
We
do the volunteer
initially,
ones.
we're just trying to encompass this part.
Yeah.
Okay,
So what would this, go through a suggestion for the staff liaison to hit in the JP&L section, the student liaisons?
I think it's fine.
Oh, okay.
We just have this whole policy.
Oh, gotcha,
And I
so
just
whether
don't
we
know
include
what-
it or not, okay,
Right,
got it,
so we should
got it.
just compare to make sure that
Sure.
everything is being replaced,
Got
because
it,
I'd
sorry,
rather
I was on a
be here.
different page, I thought I was looking to include something,
Yeah.
okay.
So just, maybe just say, let's review it. And also, who's the staff liaison for committee of the whole? I'd like that spelled out. I think it's Rebecca. I mean, I think it's
Yeah, that could be me.
manager, or could be, but just so we know, since I, just in case, we're spelling it out for everyone else. So does anyone have anything else in staff liaisons? No? Okay. Agenda topics. We talked about this last time. Consideration and a vote will be taken during a standing committee meeting if the standing committee has finalized an initiative or an agenda item and wishes for it to be deliberated and voted upon. I thought we took that out and just said has finished. Only because you can't hold it up. So we did strike the next sentence, but I think there needs to be a period after has finalized an initiative or agenda item, period.
What page are you on?
I'm at the very bottom of,
Of the staff liaison section, or
No,
are we on
agenda-
agenda topics?
Yeah, agenda
Okay.
topics, sorry, I was trying to.
And what sentence?
Does that
Um,
make sense in terms of the last sentence, whether or not it is recommended or not, it is still presented to the full board to consider it. So everything moves out of committee, whether it's whatever the vote is, everything moves out of committee.
so you would strike and wishes for it to
Right.
be deliberated
Oh.
and voted upon.
And it's missing the word "it," the last sentence, whether an item is recommended or not, comma, it is still presented to the full board for consideration.
Yes.
Did you get that?
And
Yeah.
And then I just want to share with you, when Rebecca and I, so the topics under the same section, next, the flip side, where it says topics, this was a long time ago, if you remember, at the beginning of our process, Rebecca did a analysis of here are things that we see on agendas and here are where we would suggest putting them. And I think that was a really useful and helpful exercise. As I'm reading it, we're finalizing this policy, and as I'm now helping with agendas, just in that different role, this is very rigid. It doesn't talk about committee of the whole. It very much says it goes to a standing committee, and sometimes I'll say, Rebecca, I don't understand, but it's an ordinance or something, and she'll say, well, that's what it says here, it's not new, and so, what I'm asking is, if we're gonna keep it in, like educational presentation, sometimes we do that at committee of the whole. So there has to be a sentence inserted above, in my opinion, so I'm just sharing with you what I've noticed, where it says below outlines which staff items are taken to full board versus standing committees, and blah, blah, blah. I would take that out and just say below, references, something to this effect, but, generally, which committee things would go to. However, there's always discretion, or, the village manager has discretion to switch it up. If it's a policy, I really want to follow it, and I feel like if there's not a sentence that gives some discretion, there are going to be things that I think the full board's going to want to, see in committee of the whole, and we're just not going to have that discretion. So.
The sentence, above that says, agenda items formulated by village staff that are new or have significant changes should be discussed in standing committees or committee of the whole before including on the village board agenda. So to me, that's a way of kind of saying that something could go to the committee of the whole if it was
More
warranted.
about educational presentations.
Why would we, to me, committee of the whole is like an opportunity to, where we can have more discussion. So, why would we do an educational presentation at CAL? Because it's like, to me, it's like there's something we have to really dig into and
Right.
digest a little bit and talk about.
Yes.
Well, one that we had that we took to the Cal was the AMR, automatic meter reading, because it was something that the board had only worked on before collectively in the past. And it's large, So we were like, wow, we didn't know.
Or a presentation
Yeah,
date.
it doesn't happen a lot, but,
Could you do so what would be a solution then? A sentence in that paragraph, or to say village board / committee of the whole?
No, because some of the ones that say standing committee, I might say to Rebecca, I think the full board would benefit from hearing these things, like,
Yeah,
say we
same.
decide annual prioritization planning. It
Mhm.
could go to something, but if we felt the board was very interested in that, we may say it goes to committee of the whole. I would personally, strike this sentence below outlines and just replace it with something that says like below outlines the general parameters for, you know, the general intent, but something where it gives you flexibility in some sense. So we can all agree this generally makes sense, but in certain instances, it may not exactly follow it.
So,
That's fine.
Well, I mean, certain things like Halloween trick or treating, I don't know that we need to go to a committee on that. We know we're gonna have to have that conversation. I mean, if we know we're gonna have to have a conversation.
Well, and it also depends on how
I
much is
mean,
on that agenda.
I think to me, the standing committee is something that we know is, you know, like we were talking about street trees today. I mean, something that's, I mean, I don't wanna say they're inconsequential, but something that's not as controversial. And that is probably the rest of the board is gonna be okay delegating the discussion and deliberation on that issue to a committee. I mean, Halloween trick or treating, we know we're gonna have to have that conversation with the full board, like liquor if we were granting, I mean, the last liquor license, for example, is something we know we're gonna have to talk about. So, I mean, that's kind of how I think about it, because if we know we're gonna have to have a conversation with all of us about it, then it's wasting time to do it in the committee.
Yeah, that's just discretion. We also run into time constraints, and we'll call, Rebecca will call both a chair and say, hey, we're just gonna take it to full board, and again, it wouldn't say that here, and so it's not been controversial to date, but, I just wanna make sure she has that authority.
What's our plan for time?
Yeah, we're.
oh,
we're like way
I'm sorry, I was
Sure.
not keeping track
Yeah,
of
because
that.
So, okay, so we can adjourn, if I have a motion to adjourn, and I will look with Rebecca to see if we can have a longer time frame for our next, committee of the whole, and if not, if we don't have enough agenda space, we'll look to schedule a special meeting.
Did we resolve this? I'd hate to bring
Oh,
this
go ahead.
topic up again just because we got,
Sure.
it seems like we got
Yeah.
3/4 of the way through. So where is the board on putting in a sentence to say it's general, but there may be redirection?
I'm good with it.
I am too.
Okay?
That's only two though.
I know,
Yeah,
maybe
I
about
know.
interjections.
Sure.
I'm not sure either.
I'm not sure. Depends what general, and then items just start going other
Do
places.
you want us to try to reword it, and then you can take a look at what it would look
I
like?
think we need to, and we need to have more discussion about like what are the types of, I mean, to me, it's more about the nature of the
Yes,
expected
definitely,
nature
yes.
of the conversation.
Right.
And if it's going to be, if it's gonna be controversial or something we know that more than just you know, if it's something not that controversial, not that significant, not new, then, you know, yes, it should be a committee, but if it's something, I don't wanna have a discussion committee and then have to have a second discussion about it. If it's something that we can discuss, come to board, have a 5-minute introduction and description of the item, and everybody's cool with it and votes for it, that's fine, but I don't wanna have an hour discussion committee and spend an hour talking about it. That's the waste of time. So, but yes, but that's judgment. That's not, it's hard
Right.
to,
And it's hard to include them all, like capital planning, we decide to do capital budgeting, it's not in here. So there's gotta be some mechanism that, even for future presidents and
Yeah.
managers, I'm just saying,
I'm not concerned about things moving up to the board and being discussed at the board or the cow. It's switching stuff, kind of.
Right,
What
between-
point are you switching stuff between committees?
oh yeah, that
Yeah,
comes.
because we kind of had that,
I mean, I know
that
that's
view,
because you.
last month, we talked about how committees can start to get kind of squishy because for pet projects reasons or passion reasons or political reasons or whatever. We wanted
Can we get a
to
motion?
avoid that.
I move to adjourn.
second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn, all those in favor say aye. Aye, any opposed? Motion carries. Do you wanna have that, so you have, oh, you know, it's policy 25.